Now, I've reviewed a lot of foldable phones, and this is one that I'm a little late on here. It's OPPO's Find N3 Fold, and according to a lot of people out there, this is the best foldable you can get. The build quality, the design of it, the screens, the cameras, it basically checks all boxes. And after using it now for 2 weeks, I happen to agree with that general opinion on this being the best foldable that you can get, as you'll see why in this review. And included with the Find N3, you will find our SuperVOOC charger. Now, this is a 67 watt charger. It takes only 35 minutes to charge that 4,800 milliamp hour battery, which is really good. They do include a case, and that is a case that has synthetic leather here on the back, and it's this matte black for the outside of it. It's a hard plastic style one, but it does give protection for the outside of it and the back. So not just the back, which we do see with a lot of foldable phones. You don't get all of that. And then we do have our cable here. So that is type A to type C. So great to see. Charger case and cable all included. And off camera, there is, of course, a SIM tray tool. So I really like the design of this. It's very sleek looking, and I think it is one of the best foldable phones there in terms of looks, definitely. The build materials are really good, very premium. So you can see we've got our SIM tray here, takes 2 nano SIMs, microphone. There's 3 speakers in total. Type-C does support video out, and that's USB 3.1 data transfers as well, so it's very quick. All metal along here. You can see the antenna lines, the spine on the back, just really nice. Everything just screams quality here. Now you can see there, looks like there's a microphone there on the back, but that could be for the pressure here in the camera module to stop any issues. And along the top here, you'll see some speakers there. Now, even though there's 3, they do have 4 there to make it look symmetrical. That's not missing anything. And I do like the fact that they've done that. So we have an IR transmitter microphone here at the top. And we have the always-on fingerprint reader, which, by the way, does work really well. I can see I unlocked very quick then, no problems, volume up and down. And I do love that they've got this. So it's very handy to just be able to switch it into the call mode, the sound mode, you can put it into silent, then vibration, all by just flicking this. You don't need to unlock it, and that just makes it very simple. So the outer screen here, we're looking at a screen that is a normal width here, which is great to see. So it's 6.3 inches. And this is an AMOLED screen. The brightness, like the inner screen, does peak at 2800, and it does support HDR10+ and also Dolby Vision. The same with the internal screen. And this is completely flat, so there's no curvature to it at all. The camera that is here, so this one is our external camera. It's 32 megapixels, which is good to see that it's a decent camera there. And we've got an internal one, which I'll show you just in a sec when I open it up here. So cameras on the rear. A Hasselblad partnership again. So they've got the Hasselblad portrait mode. So a main camera, that's 48 megapixels, ultra-wide 48, 64 3x optical zoom camera right here. And this is a flash. It looks really good. Very sleek looking design. And this is completely flush here too. So those cameras do not stick out, even though it may kind of give that illusion that it does. No, that's all 100% flat, so it does make it very easy to clean those camera lenses on the back. The Find N3 Fold is using a 3rd generation of internal hinge, and it does feel really good. So opening it up, there is a bit of resistance to it. I like this. There's magnets that keep that lid closed, and it does close completely flush too. So when you go to open it, feels really solid, very good. And I have a wallpaper with this nice animation to it as well that you do see. So this inner screen here, this is 120 Hz refresh rate, just like the outer. They're matching refresh rates there. And we're looking at the same as I mentioned before. So that 2800 peak brightness, and it's a great looking screen. So this is 7.8 inches AMOLED, and it does support again that Dolby Vision. Very, very smooth, really good. And you'll see we've got matte, the bezel around the outside here. And here we do have a inner 20 megapixel camera. So it's a great looking screen, very bright, very sharp. And what I love about all the foldable screens really is their contrast. Seems to just be great. And I have turned the brightness down here just a little bit, but I'll tweak that up and you can probably see just how bright and really nice this screen is. And in direct sunlight, yes, you can make out both of these screens, as you can see now. So this is the outer screen, not a problem to use this in direct sunlight with that brightness. Now I measure with the inner screen a peak of around about 14, almost close to 1400, but it can do That's 2800, so very good with the inner screen too as well in direct sunlight. There are plenty of settings for our displays. The screen color mode is by default on natural. You can put it into pro or vivid. You can adjust the white balance, refresh rate, font size, screen size to scaling. I have it scaled to the default size at the moment for the video, so everything's a little bit clearer, but I would actually run it a little bit smaller there to give me more of a PC experience on this, which is good. And the rest of the settings in there are pretty straightforward. So your gestures working really well, easy to trigger those. And we are running Color OS, and everything seems to be very fluid and smooth. Now, what I will say about Color OS is compared to Magic OS that I've been using with the Magic V2 from them and the push design model here, I just think this is a lot better. My experience with Color OS, I think it's just a little bit better optimized. I love the fact that we've got the drawer as well, and you've got your typical kind of settings and whatnot in here. So the version here of Color OS is 13.2. It is still running Android 13. So I do hope, you can see right there, Android 13, they're going to bump this up to Android 14 soon because we are a little bit dated here. Now I've got 16 gigabytes of RAM and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And of those 16 gigabytes there, you can expand that. But of course, this is just caching. It's on by default, RAM expansion. It is supposed to aid in just making everything a lot more fluid and smooth. And I don't feel like I need to go and put it into the 12 gigabytes right there. Now I have 512 gigabytes of storage with this, and that is UFS 4.0 spec. So Color OS, really good, well optimized, love the drawer, very fluid, very fast, and I've forced everything to 120 frames per second and 120 hertz. So you do hear a lot of chatter, well, at least you used to on the first generations of foldables, about the crease, that it's very annoying, it's distracting. Well, I almost forgot to include it in this review. That's how much I think about it, because I don't see it. Now, look, at this angle here, you can see a small little line there. Now, it's more noticeable if I turn that screen off. You can see it now. See this? Look at all that. Okay, but you don't see it. You use your phone and you look at your screen straight on, right? Well, I do. I don't use it at some funny, weird angle so I can always see a crease. But even so, you're not going to see it. It is really non-existent and I feel, a non-issue. Really good crease here with the Find N3. Now, first boot of this, you are going to see a little bit of bloatware. There's a few things on here, Facebook, LinkedIn, and some others. It's not too bad. There are literally only about 4 or 5 applications. So that's very lenient compared to some of the other brands out there that put a lot of junky kind of apps on there that you have to spend a bit of time uninstalling. So it's a good move there from OPPO, and I hope they stick to that. I am on the latest firmware here. That didn't bring us Android 14, unfortunately, but it did improve the cameras, system stability, and a few other tweaks there as well. And charge time, very good. The 67-watt charging is excellent. So from 10% to 74, that only took 20 minutes. Really good. I mean, there's a lot of faster charging speeds out there that would have similar kind of times, even though we are talking about maybe like 80 watts charging rates, slightly higher, or even 100. This is very good. Fully charges the 4,800 milliamp hour batteries within this. That's the total of them because there is one on one side, one on the other. 35 minutes. Again, that's excellent. No complaints out of me for that charging time. So battery tests, I tried to run PC Mark. This is the fixed battery test that I always do run. And when it got to 20%, it stops, but for some reason it produced an error. However, I managed to get 9 hours on the first test of it, and then 8 hours and 25 minutes on the second. And in my general kind of use compared to other foldables, I typically see around 6.5, 7 hours of what I can get out of these, and it really is about the same. Using the inner screen, especially at 120 hertz, and the brightness of it, you're not going to get amazing battery life. It won't quite be as good as a slab-style flagship phone, but it is very good for a foldable. We've got Camera2 Api support level 3, so you can use Gcam ports open camera. That is excellent. And Widevine level 1 cert. I did test out Netflix's own built-in specifications for playback here, and it tells me it does support HDR and Dolby Vision. I did in fact see this pop up too when I played any content, so that was excellent. And it of course is full HD resolution that is supported with that one. And Antutu score, so it gets almost 1.6 million points. It's a very good score. I mean, I'm seeing the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 getting some of the ones that throttle quite a bit similar kind of scores. They get around about 1.6 to 1.7, so we're not far off, even though this is, yes, last gen, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 being the latest, we're really not missing out on much, and that's a very hot chip. This only went up 1.6 degrees in the tests, and all the time I've been using this, it has by far the best cooling that I have experienced with a foldable phone. It really doesn't seem to throttle, overheat. It is excellent. Internal storage, same story here, very good. So UFS 4.0, great speeds, getting close to 3,500 sequential reads, over 3 for the writes, and our random reads in there are quite quick. Is it the fastest UFS 4.0 drive that I have seen? Storage? No, it isn't, but it is excellent. It is really good. Very fast, will not hold up the N3 here. So performance is excellent, and the throttling on it, it doesn't throttle really. It is very good, those temperatures. And just before I give you a demo of what those 3 speakers sound like, which, by the way, are really good, I wanted to point out one of the obvious things. Because of this aspect ratio we do have, not being 16:9 or even 16:10, that when you're playing back YouTube, which is normally 16:9 aspect ratio, you're going to have borders. So you can see as this video is playing, it looks really good, but you're not getting that much screen real estate really compared to a normal phone, because of the aspect ratio. Now, I can put it along here to make it a little bit wider, bigger, make that full screen. And there it is, slightly bigger now than what you'd find from a standard phone. So you're getting a little bit more, but we have the borders here. Now, of course, you can zoom in, but you're going to be missing out on then some of that footage. You can see it looks good, but it's just too much zoom. That's 1.6 times. So you could bring it up here, try and make those borders a little bit smaller, but again, you'll be missing out on a little bit of the content. For me, that is the biggest annoyance of foldables, that for video content, they're not really great, but for everything else, like ebooks, websites, just surfing around, Gmail, whatever you're gonna be using, they're still really good. It's just kind of this is the only thing that bugs me, the aspect ratio. Those 3 speakers have surprised me, and they do support Dolby Audio. They've got a bit of bass to them. So this, I think, yeah, definitely has the best sounding speakers audio for a foldable. I don't think any other foldables that I've reviewed up until now sound as good as this model here. So this track I'm playing, this is from NCS. It's going to be at 100% volume. It's just to give you an idea, but you'll be able to hear the bass coming through. Very good. And even that volume, excellent. So great sounding speakers with the fine N3.
Your body.
As for gaming, well, with the 16 gigabytes of RAM and that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, it is very good, and it just looks absolutely stunning on the screen. Again, the contrast of this, just look at how sharp everything is, how clear it all is. Looks brilliant. Plays really well too. For games that do support this aspect ratio, like this game does, it's not scaled, I don't think, exactly the same as having it on a typical phone screen, but it still looks very good and everything's in the correct places. And what about those thermals? Again, very good. It just gets slightly warm, and I don't see any major throttling or frame dips or any problems at all. I'd have to say this is one of the best gaming and best cooled foldable phones you can currently get on the market. Now, one of those common things that a lot of people do ask about with foldables is, does it support a flex mode? So here with YouTube, again, yes, it does. You'll see that as I bend it up like this, not only will it stay upright and you can continue to watch it like that, it can act as a stand, supports its own weight. You can use this with the cameras too as well. And I could even get rid of this and go into the comments and start typing right here as well. So you can have, yes, a flex mode with the Find N3. Over to the video performance now. So the front-facing camera here, this is 32 megapixels. It can shoot 4K 30, but it can't do 4K 60 for some reason. The outer cameras, at least we do get the 4K option, but I hope that OPPO can add the 4K 60. That would be good. Now it does have electronic image stabilization. The audio bitrate is 256 kilobits per second. However, that's not too much of an issue because we can use our outer cameras and use the cover screen as our viewfinder like we're seeing with other foldables. So you can simply just flip it around, put it into this mode, and then you do get 4K 60 frames per second and using it with this vlog style. This is the ultra wide at the moment, and you could swap over and use the main camera too, or the 3x optical But for selfie or vlog footage, that's quite close, being 3 times optical. This is our ultra wide, which is 48 megapixels. We have the main camera 48 megapixels and the 3 times optical, which is 64 megapixels. So I'm going to apply some zoom here, so I'll take it up to there 1 times. You can see the transition. It's quite noticeable there. So that's 1 times. Take it up to now 2 times digital, and then when I hit 3, will it swap over? Yes. Okay, so that's 3 times optical now with optical image stabilization. Great to see on a foldable having that 3 times optical, because that's quite a bit of flexibility there with the cameras. And apply a little bit more digital zoom here, so that's 4 times, and then I'll zoom right back, take it back to the main camera now just to test out that stabilization. Difficult conditions here with the sun pretty much right in front of me, but it's just to test out how good these cameras are, and I think they are very good for a foldable again, because you don't tend to get the absolute best when it comes to foldables. You don't get flagship performance with the cameras, but still very good here with the N3 Fold. Selfie shots with the outer 32 megapixel camera look alright, but I flipped it over, used the portrait mode with the rear main camera a lot better, and I recommend you do that if you want really good looking selfies. So this is our main camera here. Exposure is maybe just a little bit overdone. 3 times optical zoom, and it's looking good. Quite detailed there, and now 6 times, so that's half digital, half optical. Very good, still a very usable photo, and great looking bokeh here. Background blur, excellent with the main camera. This is just a normal shot, just like this one, main camera again, capturing all the different shades of red with that hibiscus. Main camera with my cat Vera up on the wall, and then I took it up to the 3 times optical zoom camera. I do like the results. I think this is excellent for a foldable, just like ultra wide shots, plenty of detail, good sharpness, and low light is the weakness I feel, however, with these cameras, that they look decent, but if you start to focus on them, you do see quite a bit of noise come into play without low light photography there, but not bad at all. For a foldable, excellent cameras. So my verdict is, after using this now for a couple of weeks, that it really is the best foldable out there if you don't need the stylus support. There is just so much to like about this model here. The build quality, the way that ColorOS is optimized is just superior in every way really to Magic OS. Now, the hardware of the Magic V2 that I have covered and reviewed, both the normal version and then the push design V2 RSR, is really good, very nice. Yes, lighter than this, and no, thinner, yes, okay, a little bit thinner. This, when opened, is 5.9 millimeters, which is still impressive, and the weight is still really good. But I feel it has the better, more polished OS. The build quality, I'd go a step further and say that I do think it's better than the Magic V2, and I'd have to say that I think it has the best build out of any of the foldables that I've covered and reviewed. The screens are very good, the performance is excellent, and those thermals, it basically really doesn't have any thermal throttling, sorry, and it charges only 35 minutes from 10%. That is phenomenal. So it beats the competition out there when it comes to the charging times that I've tested out, certainly with Samsung's Fold Series 2 as well, faster charging there. That's not hard to beat. And in the cameras, I really do think it can take stills that are better than the competition there. Really good set of cameras. I like the portrait mode from Hasselblad with their optimizations there too, is great. Speakers, again, the best that you can get on a foldable. All up, I really love it. I can only fault it with that. Just saying that it really would be nice with a stylus, or to have that optional support with a full-size pen. And why are we still on Android 13? It really needs to be updated to ColorOS, the latest version with Android 14 would be great to see. And I'm sure that is in the works. So there we go. If you want the best foldable, then I think this is it so far. Out of all the foldables I've tested, which is a lot now, it's the OPPO Find N3 Fold.